Hey, welcome back. Maybe you already know the difference between managing and mentoring in homeschool. Maybe you've read books. You've even taught this idea to other people, but it can still get you. It totally happened to me just this last few weeks. A mom I know also started homeschooling with the same idea as I did. And she understood love of learning. She understood managing and mentoring. She wanted lifelong learners. She didn't want checklists. And as her kids got older, the pressure got super loud. It got overwhelming, and she gave in anyway. I thought I was totally past that until this last week. This is something that I can't even believe almost just happened to me, but it did. And my point here is that it can happen to me, who's been teaching this for a long time. It can happen to you too. Here's what happened. So I was planning Kenyon's next school year. He's 17 and a half. We're getting started with senior year. And I was planning on filling the gaps that he had in his transcript, just looking at what we've done, things that we need to put together for a transcript. And I was thinking, gosh, we have to get science labs in. We have to get chemistry, bio, physics, one of those things. We have to get probably two of them in sometime this year. And I had several options. I was thinking of we could do JC classes, which I was okay with, and it's totally fine, except that we would have to get him there. I mean, he's getting his license, he's in the process, but he doesn't have it yet. And us getting him there and taking him back, and then just the logistics of it. Plus, it's a little bit different than what he's been doing already. And I was like, well, it's a change, but he could totally do it. It's fine. And then I have a friend who also was thinking about doing a biology class in her house. And I was like, well, that would be cool too. But again, the logistics a little bit, and it would be during the time he has his martial arts. But I was like, that could work. We could sacrifice a night for that. I mean, it's be fun for him. And then I was talking about this with another homeschooler. And ironically enough, that day literally landed in my inbox. Some guy who teaches science classes for middle school and high school with online labs. And I totally checked it out, and I was looking at it with her, and I was like, this actually looks kind of cool. This is actually like amazing. I thought that was really awesome. I thought this was my answer. And then I was thinking about it, and I saw this post. I saw this little clip from a podcast. It was one of the big podcasts with Mike Rowe, and I saw this 22-year-old. And this 22-year-old kid literally has a almost $2 billion business. He was educated. He was thoughtful. He was insightful. And he builds, defense technology for the government. He does bids for the government and creates and designs and builds all of this. It's pretty phenomenal. And he's 22. He has over 400 employees. It blew my mind. This kid was amazing. I was so impressed. But guess what it reminded me of? My son, Kenyon. He has such big goals. He has such big dreams. He wants to really put out the message about AI safety and the importance of safety checks as we continue to build AI, and for people to be aware of that situation, to put pressure on the companies to make sure that we're doing due diligence so that we don't end up living as slaves to AI and do the whole Terminator thing and everything. And it's important for our future. It really is that important. It's his mission. He's passionate about this. And it's important for all of us for him to get that message out there. I get that. And I'm so excited about his passion and his mission and his project here. And it reminded me of him. He's not that much younger than this 22-year-old with a $2 billion business. Oh my gosh. I started thinking about, why can't he just start now? What are we doing that's holding him back from that? And I was thinking about those science classes, and I was thinking about, are those really something he needs for his future right now? Or is that just checking a box for a transcript and filling in something that's not actually real world and would take his time away from doing what he loves to do, what his passion is, and what he obviously and has already taken steps to doing, putting effort and energy and purpose and study into this mission. And it's not like he's not studying other things. He's studying all kinds of things. But I realized, gosh, he already knows so much science. I ask him for science questions. He explains to me chemistry. He explains to me physics. He explains to me biology stuff. He explains to me all kinds of physics all the time. He's actually studied the greats of scientific names. He's read their books. He's done a lot of study in that area. Yeah, it didn't necessarily have a lab per se, but he's done that stuff before. We've done all kinds of lab things at home already. And he understands the scientific method. Maybe he doesn't understand how to write up a lab report, but that's not hard. You can just, literally told him what it was, and he was like, oh, okay, well, that's easy. I was like, yeah, it doesn't have to be a year-long thing if it doesn't match where he's going and what he needs. And guess what? He doesn't also need a college-ready transcript. He needs a transcript. Transcripts are very important. We're putting together a transcript. Don't think I'm not doing that. But he doesn't need a college-ready transcript straight out of high school. That's not his plan. So if he needs it in the future, we're just going to do JC classes anyway, probably, or something else. He can totally do that if he needs to do on his own. And quite frankly, I'm comfortable with at least the chemistry part that he's done a lot of lab stuff in. So I can confidently say that that is something that we can probably check off the box anyway. However, the point of this is to say that what I was planning for him, I was only thinking about the transcript. I was thinking about checking all the boxes. I didn't even think about what was the purpose and what did we want for him and what does he want for himself after high school, growing up. And he already has a very clear mission. He has a very clear education. He's still learning lots of other things. And more science too. We learn that all the time. I geek out on that stuff, even though I don't really understand all of it and he has to explain it to me. It's totally fine. I think it's fascinating. And so we're constantly learning. Am I worried about him not getting enough science? No, not at all. No, he already knows more science than most high schoolers ever. He knows more than maybe the AP kids know more, but usually those AP kids, they're studying for a test. They don't understand how to explain what they're learning. He explains it to me all the time. He understands it conceptually and he understands it literally. It's so amazing. So what was I worried about? His transcript? Does that really have to do with what he needed? Well, I talked with my husband about it. He agreed. I talked with Kenyon about it. He felt the same way. He's like, yeah, I can do that later if I need to. Or not. But I already know a lot, and I'm still learning. I literally almost made that same mistake myself, filling his time with checking a box instead of something that was real world, real applicable, something that he was learning for the future that he wants, the future that we want for him. That's important to remember. So I literally almost made this mistake myself. Oh my gosh. Craziness. The point of this is that this can happen to anybody. I've seen it happen to lots and lots and lots of moms. Going back to the mom that I know who was on the same track, doing the same things, not box checking, really wanting that organic learning, wanting that lifelong learning, wanting that not checking boxes thing. This is what's interesting about it. The society and the pressure, especially as we get older kids, especially as we get parents around us who are pressuring us, or family members or friends, they're pressuring, well, what about college? What about the transcript? What about all these things? What about them being ready? And what if they don't know stuff? Remember what I always say about that? If you have a lifelong learner on your hands, but they're always going to have gaps. You don't need to worry about them not getting what they need. You do always need to make sure that we're studying deeply, and that they get to that point. But if they're a lifelong learner, they'll fill in the gaps when they need to. That's what's so amazing about having a lifelong learner on your hands. I am not concerned at all about Kenyon and learning science and doing whatever he needs to do when he needs to do it. Not even a blip of a concern. So his mom, I know, that got the pressure from all the outside and started feeling like, oh, if we don't do this, then they're not going to be able to succeed. Their kids still like learning the things that they're interested in. But all the learning isn't as curious driven and as love of learning driven as it could be. They're still getting through things. You ever said that to yourself? Let's just get through this. If you're saying that to yourself, you know you're doing some box checking, or love of learning is low, or both. And we should probably have a chat because it doesn't have to be that way. Okay. So let's make sure that we're thinking about the things that we really want, right? Having that clear end goal. If you don't have that, if you have no plan for building that vision that you have for that end goal into your daily homeschool life, the result is that we're missing what we actually wanted for our kids. What would happen if I filled Kenyon's schedule, even if I just did these 2 classes this year, to be honest, with things that were just checking boxes? It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours doing a science lab class with things that he probably already knows, most of, anyways. What would happen there? We would delay, which we already have been doing. I mean, we haven't been doing a lot of box checking, but we've been delaying through doing other studies, doing his martial arts, doing his Eagle Scout project, things like that. His mission and his goal of pursuing that AI safety and that important message he needs to get out to the world. Why are we delaying it anymore? Let's do the things that matter. Let's prioritize. Let's get that vision, and let's make sure that everything matches up. That's what I forgot. And I did have a plan, but it almost got muddled by the should there. And it's shocking because I've been unlearning this should for a very long time. I've been out of the should for a very long time. But it crept back in for a couple of weeks. I'm so happy that I caught it. And if it can do that to me, if it can do that for somebody who's been unlearning it literally for about 20 years, then it can slip in for anybody. And I just wanted you to be aware of that. I want you to be aware of how easily that happens. It's so pervasive in our society that really starts to weigh on us, especially as our kids get older and things feel higher stakes, right? They're not actually higher stakes, but they feel like it because time gets limited. So we have to ask ourselves these questions. Do we have a plan? Are we doubting ourselves? Do we have a clear end goal vision? Do we know how to take that vision and put it into our homeschool daily life? Because if we don't, we could be wasting a lot of time and wasting a lot of energy and not building the love of learning and getting to that end goal that we want. If we are, you know you're going to get there. You're 100% confident. That's what I want for you. It's not about not having structure. It's not about never doing a class. It's about making sure that everything you do lines up with that end goal that you want. I was just talking to another mama about this today. She's been homeschooling for 8 years, and she felt the exact same thing happening to her today. We talked about she had this beautiful plan, very well thought out plan, but it's not actually the root of what she really wanted. It was just supplementing her self-doubt, the lack of confidence. And she was pulling in boxes to try and complete that self-doubt and that confidence. But if she had it, she said, oh my gosh, that's totally what I want. I want it to be part of our everyday life. I want all the kids to be in this family routine. I want to make this a learning experience, a learning culture together. I want to develop lifelong learners. We can do that. It's so fun. I wanted to share this with you today because it was so crazy to me that slipped back in and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I almost did that. It was really a gut check for me. And I hope that it is just a little tidbit out there, a little warning that this can happen to anybody at any time. And you constantly have to be in that cycle of asking questions. Now, I'm going to be talking about that this Thursday, August 13th. I'm going to be doing a inspiring lifelong learners masterclass, and that is going to show you exactly how to put all of this together. It's going to show you how to get that end goal clear, how to get out of the shoulding, the checking boxes, and how to put a culture together where lifelong learning actually happens and you get that end goal that you're looking for without wasting time, energy, and money on checking boxes and lowering level of learning. All right? I hope to see you there. Links in the show notes, everywhere you're listening, watching this. And if this resonated with you, if you thought, man, I really needed that, I know somebody could need it too, could you pass it along? Just pass it along to somebody else who needs it too, because this is something I feel like we could save a whole generation of homeschoolers, especially people who have been checking a lot of boxes by doing this when they really don't want to. I'll see you guys again next week and hope to see you at the Masterclass.